Dr. Jeremy Weiss here. I'm founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders like the founders of P90X, Baby Einstein, Atari, many more, and how they overcome big challenges in life and business. This is part of the Cubana e-commerce mastery series, where top sellers and experts teach you what really works to boost your e-commerce business. Cubana is a software platform to manage your entire e-commerce operation. Today we have Heath Squier. He is master food formulator and CEO of the Julian Bakery, which is a company that develops and sells transitional paleo foods. Products include Paleo and Primal Products like the Paleo Protein Bars, Paleo Wraps, Paleo Cereal, Paleo Chocolate, and much more. They're grain-free, gluten-free, GMO-free. Heath takes them himself. We'll talk about that. Heath learned the benefits of using vitamins and whole foods from his mother, Barbara, who's a certified nutritionist who founded the original Julian Bakery in the 1990s. I think it was 1990. By combining his background running tech companies with his parents' brick-and-mortar, Heath has grown the Julian Bakery into a worldwide brand. Heath, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
And, I always like to start, and you have the Primal Show, which is great. People should check that out. Fun fact. I always like to start with a fun fact. There's two interesting fun facts. There's more if your wife told us some good ones, but you have a black belt, or going for your black belt in karate.
Yes.
And you take over 100 vitamins per day.
I do. Maybe like 20 or 30 different types, but it all adds up.
So what do you take? What do you actually take? What vitamins?
I like to tinker. It's my own kind of biohacking kind of method to either, brain boosters to amino acids. Mm-hmm. As I approach 40, I'm trying to boost, testosterone, decrease my estrogen. There's a lot of things that I wouldn't call them supplements, but more herbs and
Mm-hmm.
Chinese medicine kind of formulas that help us men as we age increase testosterone and decrease estrogen. And that's there's a natural decrease of testosterone over time. So I like to tinker, as well as I love, things like, brain boosters and stuff like that, like huperzine. And there's just also...
just lay them out. Which ones do you take? I'm curious, what should be, there may be someone older male. They're like, what should I be taking, Heath? What do you actually take?
For me right now, it's like Tonkat Ali. There's something called horny goat weed, which is Chinese medicine. It's for brain boosters. We got huperzine for decreasing estrogen. We actually sell this product called Estro X, which decreases estrogen and increases testosterone naturally. So, there's so many people in the health and food industry which are just supplementing testosterone. I just find it... my goal, my passion was really to find vitamins that could do it naturally without having to do like a testosterone replacement therapy.
Right.
And I want to keep my levels as high as possible. That way I'm feeling great, I'm energized through the day, and I can shed fat easily. So when I do work out, you're getting the maximum result by keeping your testosterone levels high. Yeah. And even with women too, they have the same issue where their ovaries produce testosterone, as you know, and their levels decrease also. So it's really about being in balance. I think so many people are out of balance because of food, and the food is throwing their hormones completely out of balance. They're over-estrogenized because of the xenoestrogens in the food. Yeah. So it's really, I found a certain set of vitamins which really help balance the hormones and get optimal results, because I'm busy, and when I go to the gym, I want to get the maximum results. Yeah. And you're not going to get results unless your hormones are in balance. At the end of the day, you can work out as much as you want, and the fat's still going to be there. Unless your hormones are balanced.
And that Twitter picture is not Photoshopped. That's actually you.
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah. That was last year. We did a whole photo shoot and spread. I'm really into practicing what I preach. Right. So that was my goal, and I'm going to do probably one more photo shoot as I approach 40. My goal is to get an 8-pack by August, which is when I turn 40.
It looked like on that picture you had an 8-pack, so
it's almost there, but I want to go all the way with it. It's tough, as you approach 40, your testosterone levels, it's harder to boost them, and you really have to be in like the high 800 range in order to achieve that. Mm-hmm. No other way around it.
So what about any the brain boosters you talked about, obviously the testosterone, estrogen, any like multis or Bs or like what else is in that mix that you like?
For multivitamins and stuff like that, I
Yeah.
do wheatgrass. I do like ginger shots.
Mm.
So I try to get more of my vitamins and nutrients from that. I take omega, 3, 6, 9, like all the different omegas.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, from vitamin wise, I try to take it all from food.
Yeah, yeah, that's smart. So I want to get into the early days in the background, but first I want to hear some of your top strategies. And first, what are some of the best sellers on the Julian Bakery?
Right now, I mean, our protein bars are this is going through the roof. I mean, we have 8 flavors now. We're planning on launching like at least 8 more flavors on the current line.
Wow,
We're also expanding into what kind of a new diet called Pegan, which is the blend between veganism and paleo.
that's hilarious.
A
Okay.
lot of
Did you
people
coin that term?
know.
Oh, so it's
But
out there. Okay.
it's been out, but I think that it's very interesting because a lot of vegans think that they're really healthy, or just by being a vegan that you're going to lose a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
And I like to take the approach where if you're going to be a vegan, at least eat foods that are anti-inflammatory in nature and that promote optimal health.
Yeah.
And so I plan on launching a variety of food and bars that during the next year that will really be for that type of diet, as well as kind of exploring more of the primal diet products, which basically is a paleo diet that incorporates more grass-fed dairy only, not just dairy, any kind of dairy, but grass-fed specifically.
Yeah.
So
Because strict paleos don't eat dairy. Is that?
that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very limiting. If you do well on dairy, I do completely awful on dairy. It causes all sorts of mucus and inflammation for me.
Yeah.
But if you do well on dairy, a lot of people do well on grass-fed, like whey protein, for instance, or raw dairy and things like that. So I think for some people it is okay, but I personally think it's better just to avoid dairy altogether.
Yeah. So the protein bars. Let's talk about the 8 Flow. Which was the first that you came out with?
We actually launched 6 bars.
6 bars at once.
To start, and then added coconut shred and just recently almond fudge. And then we have a vanilla pudding coming out, but we have glazed donuts, cinnamon roll, like chocolate mint. I mean, all these extremely unhealthy flavors, which is really
Right. I saw like a Cinnabon, like a donut, cinnamon roll on the cover. I'm like, should I be eating this? This looks like too good, right?
I mean, it's really trying to give people back what they are taking away from their diet when they go paleo. So a lot of people like cavemen didn't have donuts. Well, it's not about that. It's about trying to give
like, how do you know? Were you there? No, I'm just kidding.
It's trying to give something back to people that they may have taken out of their diet when they do go paleo. It's also educating people about paleo while giving them health food that's disguised as junk food. And from a marketing standpoint, we've seen just tremendous results from the style of advertising because, one, it gets people's attention, and then the first thing everybody does when they look at it is they're going to look at the label. They're going to like, what's in this glazed donut paleo protein bar? It can't be paleo, and then they turn it over. Yeah, sure enough, it is, because it's gluten-free, it's dairy-free, it's legume-free, it's free from all this stuff that that would prevent you from normally having it. So it definitely works. And I think that's what it's all about in this day and age. You have to do something that's over the top because the market's so saturated, especially in protein bar market, that you have to do something that's really going to stand out. Yeah. And I think that's what we've done with the bar line. I see, our business as a whole has been growing 50% plus year over year. That's awesome. I think it's really being creative and innovative in this space that is so overly saturated with just products and ingredients that cause emotional, like gastric distress, I would say, not emotional distress, but
gastric distress could lead to emotional distress.
It really does. Yeah. I mean, there's so many bars with, just tons of sugar alcohols and inulin and all these ingredients which just wreak havoc on your digestive system. And at the end of the day, you're bloated. You feel worse after you eat this bar than you did before. And our bars are all about prebiotic fiber, and now we're adding probiotic fiber into it. So your stomach feels better after you consume our bar than before.
I want to talk about the development and the idea of the flavors in the bars. So those 6 bars, what's your process for developing? Because you could develop any flavors, right? What's your process? What's the most popular bar out of those 6? And then how did you develop?
It's depending on the protein source. Like for
Yeah.
instance, like egg white is very neutral tasting, so you could almost put anything with it in
Hmm.
terms of flavor. So it was really coming up with flavors like the glazed donut, for instance, like a maple glazed donut. It would have a mapley taste, so it would be kind of soft and chewy like a maple glazed donut would. So we all know that everybody loves donuts, right? So
Right. So is that how you thought about it? Like, what does everyone like, but they shouldn't be eating? Or what's your process for thinking of flavors?
marketing background.
Yeah.
So um, I come from what's going to sell first, and then how do we make
And
it?
you backtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
um,
what's in the glazed donut?
it's basically egg white protein, prebiotic fiber. You have like a maple extract sort of flavor, and then there's sunflower seed butter, and so it's these really just basic ingredients with just no junk. There's no sugar, alcohols. There's no gluten or just anything that would cause you to have issues, and it's people are responding really well to it.
Yeah. So the original bar of that, do you whip it up in the kitchen with your mom and like try different ingredients, or what's your? Because you're the master food formulator, so I want to hear your process for this.
Well, my mom has stepped aside since 2011. She had a stroke, unfortunately.
Sorry to hear that. Wow.
So she's no longer a part of it. But that being said, I think her focus was more like on bread, and my focus was more on
Yeah.
addressing my allergies and my dietary
Hmm.
issues, struggling with weight, like, back in 2010.
Really?
Right?
It's hard to
So
believe by looking at those pictures.
right. Well, and that's just I like I said, I like to practice what I preach. So I started on my own journey and quest to develop these products, including bars and protein powders, and all
Yeah.
the products we have today were really designed for myself. And if other people like them and they want to buy them, then so be it. But I was on a quest to find optimal health for myself.
Right.
And the end result was these products that actually work when you consume them and you combine them with diet.
Yeah.
So my mom didn't have so much any input really in the products that we have today. We took this back in 2000, like 9 and 10. We started transitioning from like a traditional bakery that was doing like low carb and low fat products,
Hmm.
and then started really focusing on low carb and going grain free and then paleo. And that drive and those formulations were done by myself because I wanted to have bread on my diet. I
Yeah.
want so all these products they really stemmed from that.
Yeah. So with those, you put the bars out. Um, what's the best method to actually sell them? I mean, you're consuming them, but you want to get them out to the masses. What worked best?
I mean, we've been a long time partner of Whole Foods, so they've been very gracious, and we've been able to really develop new products, and they've been taking them on
Mm.
nationwide. And then we also offer a variety of outlets, really online and Amazon, and we have so many different partners and small retail health food stores across the country and now world that sell our products. So it's nice formulating new products now because we can just roll them out into this great distribution network.
Right.
Um, it definitely was hard to achieve that in the beginning,
Yeah.
but I think the
What was the
buy.
first product that you got in Whole Foods?
Um, I would say it was a slew of different like breads, basically like sprouted breads, and
Hmm.
it was all of our bread. And
Yeah.
then the bread led to our other products. Like now they're starting to take our cereals and crackers and
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. The cereal looks cool. I want to try that one.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it's like a not so sweet like frosted flake
Yeah. I
almost.
mean, it's only coconut, right? I mean, that's what the cereal's made of.
It is. It's only coconut, but it's dehydrated in such a way where it makes a flake. It's
Hmm.
not. it's not like a coconut shred. It's
Yeah.
actually a flake, and it's crunchy, and it's like amazing. Imagine like the best tasting raisin bran you've ever had.
Yeah.
That's what it would taste like if you added raisins to it. So,
So I could trick my daughters into eating
oh yeah,
this healthy cereal to taste good.
yeah. No, I think you know, you bring up your kids. I mean, my daughter's 3.5 right now, and now my formulating really starting to focus on food for kids because it's
Right.
just so saturated with sugar and just the junk out there and
Yeah.
GMOs. I mean, it's just insane what's going into these products
Yeah.
for kids. A lot of the newer products that are going to be coming out will be very kid
Yeah.
focused.
Yeah.
So
So what's one of the products that's inspired by your daughter that you're creating because of her?
we're working on like pancakes.
It's on the site. Yeah.
We have a
There's
pancake mix, but there's like these little like silver dollar pancakes which we'll be releasing. That something that we really want to go after, and then also kids protein bars.
mm,
So kind of like half the amount of protein of a traditional bar. A lot of the bars out there are just packed with sugar and GMOs and just junk. So really trying to go after that market will be something exciting.
yeah.
So
What's in the pancake mix? What's
it's just like coconut, almond flour, egg white. It's just
hmm
real basic stuff.
Yeah. So the for people who are like, Heath, I want to be in Whole Foods, right? What are some of the disadvantages and advantages of being in Whole Foods?
I don't think there's any disadvantage. Really, it's just one more outlet. People love convenience, so
Yeah.
whether it be Whole Foods or in any natural food store, it's really the convenience factor of the instant gratification of not having to wait for the product to be
hmm
shipped to them. So Whole Foods is great. I mean, they're like any other chain where they have different buyers that have a submission period.
Right.
You submit your products, and if the buyers like the taste and the packaging and everything, then you get accepted into a region, and that's why you have to be really creative and keep coming up with great tasting products. So
How hard was it to get in originally?
I think it's definitely a lot more difficult now. I mean, we've been with them since I want to say like '07 or something, long time ago.
hmm
There wasn't as much competition, but depending on the category, like for instance, we started with bread and now we're in cereal. It just depends on the category. So I'd say it's much more difficult now because there's so many people that want to be in there. So
hmm
that's why when I do formulate products, it's got to be something just over the top that's just better than everything else out on the market.
hmm
So when I formulate, I will buy everybody's product out on the market and
Try
do
it.
market research
Yeah.
and then come up with something better. And to be honest with you, it's very easy to do because most people aren't choosing the best ingredients, or there's just much more superior ingredients now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I could see a disadvantage being, when you compare online to there, obviously you're selling it at wholesale, compared to if you're selling it on your website, it's full retail, right?
sure in a way, but to be honest with you, online you're advertising, right? So you have that huge chunk of advertising
Yeah.
that's coming out of the margin anyways. Where in Whole Foods they're selling it and pushing it. So at the end
Right.
of the day, it doesn't really matter whether it's going in Whole Foods or
I
you're
think
selling.
there's a wash there.
Yeah, because additionally online now to be competitive, you have to offer free shipping. So there's another margin hit on top of the advertising cost and getting people to your site. So um, you know, I would say doesn't matter either
Yeah.
way. You
Yeah.
think about the same amount.
So that's the offline. Talk about some of the best online strategies to sell the bars, whether it's on Amazon or your site. What works well for online?
If you're going to launch a product in today's age, don't be afraid to spend money. And if you don't feel comfortable spending money, then you should probably not launch that product
Yeah,
because
because your background is in internet marketing tech stuff. So I'm really curious of what you think the best methods are for this.
I think, and now today there's conversion codes with Google AdWords, there's Facebook, and it's really all about the cost per acquisition,
hmm
so ROI on the money spent. So if you have a good product and you have a good website, you're going to have a great ROI. And now, with these conversion codes in place, you can spend as much money as possible. And if the ROI is low enough, then you can spend as much as you want, and you're going to get an incredible return on your investment. So I think don't be afraid to spend money if you have a good product. And if you're worried about spending money or you're not getting a great ROI, then your product probably needs to be improved or changed, or your website. So, I mean, my strategy has been to refine our website, refine our message, to create a product that's unique and that people want. There's got to be a demand for it. And, just to make the best product possible and market that product to as many people as possible. So the market is saturated, and we cover multiple categories where the market is extremely, just full of so many products. So
yeah, how do you stick out from that? Yeah.
We started off small. I mean, back in, I would say 2009, we started doing AdWords, and we were in like 40 stores nationwide.
Yeah.
And right away, we jumped to like 100, 200
Really?
stores, because the advertising not only brings in online business, but you also have that customer education, and it creates a customer demand within the stores. So then the customers start going into the stores.
They ask for it.
Yeah. So then that just grows your footprint. So
yeah,
it's money well spent.
That's amazing. So you went from 20 stores to 40 stores, and then what was the next big milestone for stores wise?
I lost count, because through distribution, you kind of lose the full number, but it's thousands, and now we're in stores worldwide. Yeah. We're really focusing on like Australia, UK, Canada is all opening up, and we have all of Europe, and
There's a special process that you had to go through to get into like Australia, or do the people who distributed it in the US to Whole Foods also had connections in Australia?
Just a different distributor, and then you work on different packaging, that's compliant, so they kind of handle all the, specific
logistics.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the nutritional facts change, so you have to basically recalculate all the, formula for their nutritional facts.
Yeah. So you mentioned conversion. What did you mean by conversion code?
Well, Google and Facebook both have conversion code, which is installed on your website. So that code basically enables you to track the sales.
I see.
So let's say your ad's running on Facebook, and we've all seen the ads. You click on it, you go to your site, they check out. Facebook captures the dollar value of that sale and sends it back into your Facebook campaign.
Yeah.
So the total dollar amount, and so then all of a sudden let's say if you spend $1,000, it tells you get 100 customers. So
yeah. Have you found on Facebook, like a channel like Facebook, do people like a certain product best from Facebook, or does it?
It doesn't really. It just depends on who you're marketing it to. So there's different audiences. Facebook's pretty incredible, where it starts developing audiences based on the people who buy. So then you start getting these huge segments of people to market to.
Right.
So and it basically starts gleaning information from every person that buys, whether it be demographic information, age, what they're into. So then you start developing audiences based on those specific people that are buying.
Yeah. And one of the things I notice, Heath, is you guys have a really good social media presence. Can you talk about the social media strategy a little bit?
Well, Facebook used to be amazing in terms of giving, you would post something on there and you get a ton of free people, ton of free traffic, but now
you have to pay for it.
Now you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Instagram is like that now, but it's going to change really quick. Basically you're going to start paying for that few, 30 seconds to a minute. You're flipping through Instagram, those pictures, you're going to pay for that.
You think that's going to change?
Yeah, I mean, it is. And as you like more and more things on Instagram too, it gets more competitive for that maybe 30 seconds to a minute you're spending on Instagram, flipping through the most recent, updates from the people you're following. So Twitter has finally come around to being something that's of interest. They also have conversion code as well.
Hmm.
But they had a tough time until recently. They would charge you for traffic, and they actually weren't sending the traffic, so
Really?
they were completely overbilling.
Wow.
It was a real issue. Facebook actually had that in the beginning too. They would say they sent traffic that wasn't picked up by anybody, including our server. But
It's that's how good Facebook is. They can send you
yeah,
traffic and it doesn't even get detected.
yeah. So Twitter recently fixed it, so I got to commend them, and I think that it's just another platform where
Yeah.
you just gotta really spend a lot of time watching your ROI and the money spent. There's so many tweaks and tricks to basically being able to, it could be your landing page, it could be the picture that you're using, it could be the text you're using.
Yeah.
There's just so many different facets of
You got to
online,
test it.
and you just don't know what the audience that you're marketing to is going to respond to.
Yeah. And then part of that social media strategy is the content. You know, what you do is actually produce some really great recipes, on your site, and that I'm sure drives a lot of attention. What are some of the most popular recipes you've put out?
To be honest with you, I'll go to I'm kind of an on-the-go person,
Yeah.
and we get a lot of recipes. I mean, we have tons of recipes from people on Instagram taking pictures. So a lot of the recipes are actually from our own
User
customers.
generated. That's great.
But the most popular ones are when I'll go to like Rubio's or Chipotle or my on-the-go meals where I go out and get some shrimp, throw it in like a coconut wrap,
Yeah.
throw some salsa and avocado in there, and take a picture of it. People love on-the-go recipes because
Quick,
like
easy.
I don't have time to cook, so and I really enjoy cooking, but I'm always on the go. So I like to teach people how to grab some food when they're out, come back and throw it in a wrap when they get home.
Yeah.
And just to make eating really easy. I think all the recipes are really around that. I love like grass-fed ground beef with avocado and salsa on it in a wrap. It's just so easy to do. So,
Yeah.
and that's I'll cook at home. I mean, cooking up some ground beef just takes a couple of minutes. It's so easy. You toss it in the wrap and good to go.
Yeah. So from the selling standpoint, there's a lot of great information. What about on the what mistakes do you think people are doing for e-commerce? What do you see people? What mistakes are they making?
I'm guilty of this too. And it's really not even my fault, but I think it's something that there's not enough great graphic or web designers or people out there that are developing great sites. There's not enough of those people, and they're so heavily saturated. We've been trying to launch a site for the last year, and it's like there's not
like
enough,
a rebrand or a different site.
like a redesign. And a new e-commerce platform, and I think the future is really in making checking out easy. I think Shopify does a great job of that.
Do you use Shopify or do you use something else? No.
It's a custom. We like WordPress on a back end commerce site, but basically, I like the new e-commerce packages that are coming out, and they allow for like auto order, so you don't even have to think about ordering. You just set it all up, what day you want it delivered, and it delivers. I think that's kind of the future of e-commerce. Is just an auto delivery program, where you don't really have to think about it. So I think that's something that more people need to implement, and we're looking forward to doing that also, especially when you're on a diet. Because let's take a protein powder. You know that there's 30 servings in it, so maybe you go through one a month, and then you go through X amount of coconut wrap. So you could set up an auto delivery,
right? Not think about it.
Your diet really easy. I think everybody wants to have more time, so the easier you can make it, and for people to order, the better.
Yeah.
And I think poor web design. I mean, we're really looking like we have all the pictures taken on a nice white background, and we haven't even updated our site yet because we've been waiting for this complete redesign.
Yeah.
But I wish there was more great web designers out there, and there's just not enough. And the ones that are out there are either really slow or they're not. They're just like on their own timetable. So I think it's something that everybody struggles with. Great creative people good creative people, they're just so busy. There's just not enough of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at them. They're just like, they're just so busy between your work and everybody else's. So,
Yeah. What's another mistake you see people making? That's a good one.
on with just their site,
E-commerce in general.
um,
Because I know you do a lot of market research and you'll get all the bar. It could be from a buying experience, like, because you go out and you purchase all the competitors' products.
sure, not having PayPal would be a huge one. Take PayPal; it's the easiest way to check out.
Hmm.
I mean, and PayPal just makes it seamless for people to check out, and they don't have to worry about their credit card information. So, I think that would definitely be one. And just trying to make checkout as easy as possible. I mean, even our checkout's not where I want it to be, so it's definitely something that we continue to try to improve.
How do you want to improve your checkout, you think?
Um, I think just being able to have less steps, trying to get people checked out within a couple of steps. If people have PayPal, I think that it's basically like 2 or 3 steps. But
Hmm.
outside, if you were to check out outside of that, it's too many steps. So
Yeah. So I want to go back to early on, Heath. Obviously, a big influence for you were your parents, and they were kind of ahead of the trend of this health thing. So what did that look like in your household? What did meals look like? What was your mom cooking for you back when you were a kid?
um, we ate a lot. Everything was organic, and we had our own garden. I actually grew up in Costa Mesa, and like basically, we had goats and chickens
Really?
and fruit trees, and we had
What
all
kind of
sorts
fruit trees? What did you have?
of apricot, and I mean, we had like just a whole
Mm.
vegetable garden. She was into homegrown gardening way before anybody else was, way ahead of
Right.
her time, and so we ate a lot of just organic rice. And back then carbs didn't really matter. None of us knew about gluten either. But I actually I'm not a celiac, but I have a autoimmune issue with gluten itself.
Oh, really?
So it actually triggers me to just my whole autoimmune issue. Like I just shut down. Like I start getting really tired.
Mm.
Uh,
You get a lot
and
of fatigue and
yeah, and I really had a problem with like brain fog during school, and not until really in my late 20s, early 30s, did I start noticing that after I had a sandwich, I'd get
mm.
extremely tired.
You saw a
So
pattern there.
once I started removing the wheat from my diet and all gluten and eventually all grain, that brain fog went away. I had a lot more clarity and I had steady energy throughout the day. And it wasn't really blood sugar related. Sure, that does cause a spike and an issue, but this was just a complete like over. I would go take a nap, and
You rejected it, yeah.
I'm in my 20s, so why am I taking a nap, right? So um, I had the same sort of issue in school, and unfortunately, nobody knew about that back in the day.
Yeah. Even
So
now, it's hard to diagnose that. I mean, how do you know what's causing it? It could be like, oh, I just didn't sleep, or it could be a million different things.
sure, and I pay attention to my daughter, for instance, and I also have an issue with dairy where it just makes me extremely nasally and like a ton of mucus. And are your kids mucousy? Are they having energy all day? Are they feeling sluggish? How are they performing in school?
Yeah.
I think there are signs. You just have to pay attention to them because they're not going to be able to communicate. Hey, mom and dad, I got brain fog. They
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
Right. How did that look like as a kid, right? You don't want to be different from the other kids. Did you reject that way of thinking and the foods when your friends maybe eating Twinkies and whatever else? Like, what was your
Yeah, to be honest with you, I was like embarrassed of my lunch.
yeah? What's your lunch? What was
I would never.
like? Do you
Sometimes,
want to trade this goat milk for your Doritos? Or like, no,
yeah,
Heath, like get away from me. Like,
that's
what?
how it was. Yeah, but it was. It's unfortunate because I actually was so embarrassed I wouldn't like bring out my food, in front of the other kids. My mom would put like raw onions in it, so my lunch smelled and that nobody else's did. So
Right.
things like that, sure. But I think nowadays that being healthy and having healthy food is actually kind of cool, and it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be so. It's not so different anymore.
Yeah. So when you were growing up, Heath, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I probably wanted to be in the military. I
Really?
think. Yeah, some like special forces or something like that. I don't know, but
When
yeah.
did your parents started the bakery in the 90s?
Yes.
So, how old were you when they started the bakery, and were you kind of a part of that process?
Um, like 15 or something like
Okay.
that.
So, yeah, so you're young.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the bakery, and I grew up, my mom was always trying to help people to help them reach, better health, whether it be through vitamins or through, selling organic bread. And at the time, the fad was really low fat diets, which now that I look at it, it's not, I understand the purpose of it. You cut out fat and you're cutting out 9 times the calories from each gram of fat you
Right.
intake. The
Right.
problem was they were still keeping their carbs high. So if you go low fat and low carb, you're going to get way better results than keeping a high carb, high fat, which we all know stores tons of fat on the body.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it wasn't completely a bad fat. They just didn't have it all the way correct.
Yeah.
So.
What did you see your parents go through with starting and running the bakery? What lessons do you learn from them?
When you're a small business owner, you really can't do everything. I mean, sure you have to in the beginning, but know when to delegate, know when to, know when doing every single task in the business
Yeah.
is keeping you from growing the business overall.
Yeah.
Um,
You
I
saw
think,
them doing too much,
yeah,
not delegating enough?
yeah, and they never got out in front and was able to really grow their company the way they needed to. And I think finding the right people for the right position, and then which frees you up as a business owner to grow the company and formulate or be just innovate in general. A lot of business owners just get stuck in the day-to-day grind, and I think that's a real problem because then their business just dies.
Yeah.
You know,
What made you decide to join them eventually? Because you were in tech and computers for a long time.
my dad passed in '06,
Oh,
and
sorry to hear that.
yeah,
I'm
and
bringing
then
up all this bad stuff with your parents. Yeah.
okay, and then my mom ran it for a little while, but the business was really growing at the time, and
I needed
really
help.
I came in like '09, and because she started having some heart problems and stuff, and then just to try to free her up. So I think the loss of my dad kind of triggered there's a tremendous issue with stress, and she was married for like 45 years, so
Wow.
it's just a lot for somebody to deal with. So
Yeah. She had
it
to
was,
do that and run the whole business and everything like that.
yeah, I kind of saw an opportunity where they were selling bread online way before. I mean, I never thought it could be done. So
They were.
um,
So early on, they were doing it.
yeah, I mean, they started their site like '07 or something like that,
Yeah.
'06. It was in the beginning, and I was like, no, don't sell bread online. They did it anyways, and it ended up really taking off. And then their site got so big where I was just like, you know what? Let me apply what I love to do, which is marketing with their business, and then also run the company, and ended up working out. So
So when you went on board in 2009 with
yeah.
them. And so what did you implement when you got on board?
We started advertising. That was really the first thing, and there was no conversion code, so you were really advertising blind.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like you had to compare your existing sales to the days that when you would advertise. So then you started, comparing. All right, well, if you spend $100, it added this many customers. There was nothing adding it up, so it was just you were rolling the dice. So, but since nobody was using AdWords back then, or not as many people, um,
Right.
the
It's like the
market,
Wild West.
yeah,
Yeah.
the market was huge, and it's far different than today. I mean, really, Google's changed a lot for us. I mean, we used to spend the most amount of money with them. It's definitely not that way anymore. They actually came out and did a video with us where we had such great success with them using their Google Display Network, but that network has really died, for them. It's just, it's not as effective
Hmm.
anymore.
What's the biggest challenges, Heath, with growing so fast like that? Because that comes with challenges too.
Um, sure, just finding the right people as you grow. So, I mean, growing your company and growing as fast as we did,
Yeah.
you have to find people that you can depend on,
Yeah.
that are quality people. Sometimes you never know until they're on board and they just start becoming flaky or they have personal
Right.
issues. So we have such a great team now, and I don't think you can't do it by yourself. So
Yeah.
I think really spending the time, finding the great people you can depend on is key.
What kind of staff do you need to run the business? Like I know you were mentioning one thing your parents didn't do early on was, get people to do different tasks.
Sure. I mean, I was always of the mindset where, because I'm a big picture kind of person, delegating to managers for each department is
Mm-hmm.
really important. And then having those managers feed you that information of what's going on in the day-to-day business allowed me to really get out in front and grow the business as a whole and stay focused. So the first thing I did was really departmentalize and put managers in place over each department. I think before we had a lot of automation, and we were up to like over 80 employees in
Wow.
one station. So,
It's a lot.
and then automation, we were able to really cut our workforce in half, and then really weed out the bad people. And now, I think it's a great model for any business owner is to really put key people in place over each department, and then have them funnel either to another general manager, and then the general manager reports to you, or but it's really simple.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do it. So a lot of people try to be that manager in every department. So.
Yeah. What kind of automation?
Whether it be production automation, so you have instead of rolling bread by hand, you have a machine that cuts and weighs it and packages it, to bar automation. You can do it by hand, or you can have a machine cut it and weigh it and wrap it. And so just depends on the product. So
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, 80 people is a lot to manage. So when you came on, you put a lot of processes in place. What was the next big milestone you hit once you took over in 2009?
I think, in 09, as we grew, it was really trying to find the right people. So weeding out the bad ones, developing the automation, and also at the same time keeping an eye on the different trends that were going on, whether it was low carb. Then really in like 2010, 11, you had like zero carb come out, and then you had grain-free start to be real popular back then, and then obviously paleo. So
you had to kind of think about putting different messaging on the site and on the foods, or what do you consider with that?
It was really just changing our product line. So we did away with the entire original product line and then started developing products that were grain-free and gluten-free and low carb, high fiber. So, and the products were really in line with my own dietary needs at the time. So I was formulating around my own diet, because I went from, I would say, like 220 down to like 187.
Wow.
And just through diet, and working out. I was working out the same, I was just dietary change at that point.
Yeah.
4 or 5 times a week, you do some cardio, some weightlifting, and it really all comes down to diet at the end of the day.
What did the online component of the Julian Bakery look like in 2009 compared to today?
I would say, we've, just grown just like 1,000%. I mean, it's just, it's unreal, because, we're in food. So if customers are happy, your food, your customer
They keep
base,
buying it, right?
Yeah. So it's just like, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, your level of customers. And we also send out like a bi-weekly email to our customers, letting them know, like, diet tips and recipes and products. And a lot of times people just like it because it's a reminder, it's like, hey, oh yeah, I got to order,
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we definitely do a good job of staying in touch with everybody. So.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, from your experience, what you slowly tweaked from the site when you took it over. Obviously, you weren't full-time. Like, you're probably revamping things, or there's certain things you added or subtracted to the actual site or automation from online, not just like from the food preparation, but online?
Yeah, I mean, we started with just bread, and then we started to develop. We expanded on that, so we did protein powders and chocolate and crackers and all these different products. So we were increasing the amount of products that we're offering, and I was also selling other people's products too that complemented us. Like we sell vitamins. People are like, "Why do you sell vitamins?" Well, because why not? You're already buying a dietary product. Why not buy some supplements as well?
Yeah.
So that's people started to respond to that. It's like, oh, I can get everything in one place.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
being that, why do you sell books? Because it's convenient. Why not throw a book in your cart?
Yeah.
So
What that comes into play. What paleo experts do you follow that you think other people should read or look at what information they're putting out?
I think Mark Sisson does a great job, and Dr. Cordain, are two great ones. I mean, there's really so many, but there's just some great resources on the paleodiet.com and marksdailyapple.com. I think they have great discussion forums and great information overall.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I started, my journey is really gleaning information from them. Rob Wolf's another one that's, got a lot of information. He's more technical, but I think that there's a lot of information out there that you got to look for the people that look the way you want to look. So never take advice from somebody that doesn't look the way you want to look, whether it be a trainer or a person giving dietary information.
Right. Practice what they preach.
Yeah, I have a real problem with that. So I think that growing up, I saw a lot of that in the nutritional field. You have people coming over preaching health, and it's like they have, a beer belly. It's like you obviously haven't figured it out for yourself. So how can you be dispensing advice?
Right. It's a good method to weed out who you take advice from, for sure. I heard about you in the Julian Bakery from the founder of Skubana, Chad Rubin, loves your paleo pizza crust. And what's in that product?
There is egg whites, almond flour.
Yeah.
You have pumpkin flour, and that's about it.
Yeah. What's your personal favorite product out of all your different ones?
It's lower in carbs than a traditional pizza. It's definitely one of my favorite products. But that product, I mean, we sell a ton of it. I mean, it's my wife and my whole family they really love that product. It's the most like pizza like crust you're gonna have, and it's really easy to make. You literally add water and roll it out, add your toppings to it. I would say that's definitely one of my favorites. I mean, right now I'm really into the almond fudge Paleo Protein Bar we just launched. It's delicious. It's like almond fudge. It's really it's a great combo. So
yeah. What else would be a good lesson for people in e-commerce? Considering the big milestones. I mean, you do a lot of interesting things from online to offline. What are some more, I guess, what's another big milestone that you hit? I don't know, you talked about the staffing. What about with, I don't know if it's distribution or sales or products, some of the milestones you consider milestones as you took over?
I think a lot of people are taking money too soon. So, I mean, as you get bigger and have a certain size, I think we've been able to, fortunately, just been able to keep it just us. I haven't had to take any part.
People like do a lot of VC or they take on investors type of thing.
If you're growing really fast, don't take on money unless you really have to. As you get of a certain size, the money's cheap. Go to your bank. It's like the rates are super low, or there's all sorts of different loans you can get without having to give up a piece of your company. And I think as we grow, sure, it would be nice to get funded and maybe there's a proper time. But if you're growing so fast and you don't have to take it, or, it's you can squeeze by without taking it and do it yourself. Sure, it takes a little bit longer, but try to hang in there and don't take money until you really have to. I think that's something a lot of people struggle with is they'll take money from investors and then the whole company ends up folding because they have to share too much of the margin,
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good one.
we a lot of people are affiliate based too, I think, and there's nothing wrong with affiliate marketing. We don't even have an affiliate program, and it's something that maybe we'll do.
Yeah.
But
What's the reason? Yeah.
a lot of people, give up so much of their margin that they can't really grow, so it ends up stifling their growth.
Yeah. Because I'm sure you get approached by people.
Yeah, and I think it's nice. I mean, I think a lot of people give up too much money, and they really need that margin to grow. And the money is better spent, really, I would say, in online marketing because you can control the ROI if you know what you're doing. So
Yeah. What do you consider? Obviously, you've had a huge upward growth. What have been some of the roadblocks that you've hit along the way?
We make a really unique product with, I would say ingredients, which some of them are, traded commodities, but the first product that we had truly great success with was the paleo bread, and paleo bread uses egg whites, and it's happened twice so far where pretty much all the chickens in the U.S. died off for a little while.
Really?
To the avian bird flu. This just happened recently last year, and it drives egg white prices through the roof. I'm talking quadrupling the single biggest ingredient. So all of a sudden, it's do you raise prices or do you stop the line? So also using ingredients that are really unique that we use, like sometimes almond flour, goes through the roof, or you have issues with supply. But now the ingredients we use are in much greater supply because a lot more people are using it. But in the beginning, it was really tough. So making sure that you have a great supply chain all the way through and have multiple sources for ingredients is definitely important.
That's a great one. Thanks for sharing that, Heath. Yeah, it's something I wouldn't have thought of. Oh, yeah, you're buying commodities, and if those things go up, you're kind of screwed in a sense. So what do you do with the price? If those go up, what do you decide as the executive? What's the decision?
Well, it's definitely a point where you'd have to stop production, or you just try to write it out. So you end up, and there's many times where we lost a lot of money, I would say, and a lot of money.
Because you want to keep the prices the same for the customers?
You don't want to stop the flow into distribution, because if you do, then you lose your shelf space. So there's that. So you have to kind of weigh the
It's tough.
Yeah.
That's why I want to know what you did.
Yeah. No, I mean, we wrote it out, and we definitely are still paying for it. So it was definitely a lot of money lost.
Yeah.
But you have to look at this from a long-term, point of view, where you're in distribution, and provided that people continue to eat gluten and grain-free, which we feel that they will, this is really a long-term project. So. Yeah.
I mean, the almond and the egg, there's nothing you can do, I guess. It's tough to avoid. It's sort of that's environmental. Like you said, you could, I guess, get more supply partners, so maybe just to see the different prices, but probably they're going to not be that far off from each other.
When egg goes, it all, everybody, because it's a traded commodity, so everybody's, feels, and a lot of people just go out of business.
Yeah.
Including the egg suppliers, they go out of business because they have these contracts. They're locked into this pricing. They have to supply. So they have to go out of business to get out of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Any other roadblocks that are important to mention?
I think, like I said, just really focusing on multiple sources for whatever it is that you're making. Have more than one vendor. And definitely don't put all your eggs in one basket. And that goes for, suppliers and also product. Have more than one product. Don't put all your effort into just one product. Create multiple products. That's why we have so many products, because you never know which one's going to be a hit.
Yeah. What's the hardest part about running the business now for you?
It's really not hard anymore. So.
Not really?
Yeah.
Nothing's hard about it?
No.
Oh.
It's actually, I'm in a great place, from a business point of view. We, like I said, I've implemented my plan of really delegating and outsourcing it. It's just, I get to focus on I get to focus on developing recipes and marketing, which is what I love to do every day.
Yeah.
So I'd say as we grow, I really get to focus on formulating, which is what I love to do right now. So I would say there's nothing hard about running the business. It's more about all right, we're going to formulate another product and let's roll it out into the marketplace and let's see if it's a hit.
Yeah. What's the best delegation you made that maybe you waited a little bit too long and after you did it, you just were like, thank God I finally did that?
Oh, like I said, I saw early on when I first came on, my mom was trying to do everything. It probably ended up giving her heart problems, you know, and
Was she just working really long hours? Like, how late was she there?
too much stress, you know, and just not giving herself enough of a break. So I think that being said, I saw that and I was like, you know what? If she's delegated more, she would have been able to accomplish so much more
Yeah.
in her career. But at the time, it's like owners just want to do that. They want to try to do, you know, be everything to everyone and try to do everything. And it's something I learned early on that, hey, you know, I delegated it. You delegate out each department, and communication is crucial, you know. And I think that um, the more communication you have with your teams, especially the managers, the better. So I
Yeah.
just ran with that.
Yeah. So Heath, what if people are, looking at what kind of software they should be using to run their business? What do you recommend, from shipping to shopping cart to what software to use to run the online business?
Um, we've partnered with Ozlink and Disha, which I think
Hmm.
is now
Yeah,
com.
I interviewed the founder of Indisha. Yeah,
And
huge.
it's basically we started utilizing USPS for our shipping needs because they offer the flat rate service, which saved us just tons of money. We were really having problems with FedEx and UPS, like overbilling, you know, for certain delivery territories, and I made it tough to manage our cost.
Hmm.
And they would just, you'd have all these surprise, you know, numbers on your bill, and it was getting ridiculous. So USPS and Disha specifically allowed us to charge flat rate online or offer free shipping. And then Ozling basically enabled us to auto batch our orders from online and to basically generate a seamless like packing slip and shipping tag on one piece of paper.
Hmm.
Uh, it would grab our orders and then basically sit on a set of business rules, process the orders in a way where we no longer had to do that. At one point, to be honest with you, we had like 6 or 7, 8, maybe 8 people just processing orders manually at a certain point. That software, that ability to be able to um, auto tag or auto make tags wasn't available when I
Yeah,
first came on. So
yeah,
that was a huge huge boost to our business and our bottom line because we were able to no longer have 8 people on staff doing that.
that's a
So
huge difference. Yeah.
I moved them into shipping, you know. So
What other software do you recommend?
we use QuickBooks Enterprise. I mean, right now, a lot of the QuickBooks products allow you to download the orders that you get online right into, you know, into the software. So it allows you to easily track your sales and add new items and stuff like that. So I think, you know, the more automation, the better. But that's what we personally use.
Yeah, and then shopping cart. I know you mentioned Shopify. Any other shopping cart platforms that you think people should take a look at?
WooCommerce, I think, is definitely something that we will probably be integrating here pretty quick. So I
Hmm.
have a lot of plugins. So
Yeah.
I'm not a real shopping cart master. I mean, kind of leave that up to the tech guys. But
Yeah. I know you mentioned automation a lot. So, part of a quick word from the sponsor, I'm always personally thinking of automation. How can I do more in less time? How can I ultimately automate things that will work better without me? That's ideal. So what I love about Skubana, I personally use them that I can automate inventory management with without the multiple spreadsheets or piecemeal softwares. And I could automatically send out inventory to customers from any platform from one fulfillment center and automate the purchase orders when they hit a certain level. And Skubana does combine all the software tools to run the e-commerce business. And I also love the SKU profitability report. So it tells me if things are actually profitable, if I should be keeping on with those SKUs or not. So on that, we talked about, since it's Inspired Insider, I always ask the question, what's been the lowest e-commerce moment for you?
we haven't had one. I mean, like we've hit the ground running. So I never had a low point. I mean, with we just had, year over year growth. I mean, it's been phenomenal. And I think part of that's really, like I said, focusing in on those conversion codes, automating. I mean, if you focus in on that and continue to improve your product line and your products and the ingredients you use or whatever it is that you make, I think, you'll have great success. So.
Yeah, I mean, a low moment, like since you're automating, what about if there's like a long-time staff that you have to let go because of automation, or do you just move them to another department?
Yeah, we just move them to a different department. I mean, the people that we replaced with, making tags and printing tags, we moved them into shipping because all of a sudden we no longer had that. We had more and more orders coming in because of our growth, so we always had a place to move them to, or maybe they were interested in a different part of our business. So maybe they're interested in baking or whatever it is. So it just allowed us to continue to hire within or promote people.
Yeah. And I wanted you to speak to there's a couple things online about, there's some controversy, and I wanted you to speak about that just so they hear directly from you instead of looking on some website that has some claims about Julian Bakery.
Yeah, when I first came on back in 2009, my parents had one of the products that we had was a low carb bread that was out on the marketplace, and it was called Smart Carb Bread. And back then, they were using software to analyze the bread, and that gives you the nutritional analysis. So one of the breads had an off amount of carbs because they were using the software analysis instead of what we do today, which is we send our products to Medallion Labs or Lab Smart. We get a full lab verification. So if you're making a dietary product, it's all about the macros, all about the nutritional facts, making sure they're accurate, because it's really the number one thing you can do. And what that led to us doing was lab testing the product that we had. We reformulated it so it was low carb using Medallion Labs, and we relaunched it. And then ever since then, now we post our lab tests online, which is great. So it's like we have complete transparency. We're actually one of the only companies that does that. And it's made it a lot easier. It's just given us a whole new way of developing products. Because if you think about it, making a low carb product is pretty easy. And you really just start off with low carb ingredients. And it's not that difficult to do. And especially when you are formulating, you just send stuff to the lab, and whatever they tell you it is, then you launch it, or you keep reformulating until you get the nutritional facts that you want.
Right. What's interesting, so I do a lot of research ahead of time, and I read through some things. It was interesting about one of the claims is that they tested that, like you were saying, and they found that there was less fat in it than you claim. So wouldn't that be a benefit? Or do you know what I'm talking about? They said, there was actually less fat in the actual bread that was actually on the label. So wouldn't that be a benefit?
It would mean it would be lower calorie.
Yeah.
I mean, there are when you send stuff to the lab, I mean, it's of that specific batch. But when you're mixing, you could have some of the bread come out a little bit higher fat than the other. But I don't know. It just depends. Yeah. So like I said, anytime that we send stuff to the lab regularly, so to keep it always accurate.
Yeah. Most companies don't do that. What made you decide to publish the results online?
It just makes it a lot easier. I mean, that way people are like, that's not low carb. Well, I'm like, all right, well, here's the nutrition facts. Plus, as somebody that has been on a diet, I wanted to see that in when I buy a product. I want to see, okay, well, how are they getting these nutritional facts? Because there's so many bars and products currently on the market where either they use software testing or they're using software just to calculate these numbers. Yeah. They don't spend $1,000 to send it to the lab to actually get the real nutritional facts. That means that their numbers are off.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think I listened to you talk about this, and you use use a lab that's also used by like General Mills. And what lab do you?
We use Medallion Labs, and we use another one. It's called Lab Smart, depending on the type of testing that we need to do. But yeah, I mean, they're big labs. They're one of the biggest around. So
yeah. So on the flip side, Heath, what's been the proudest moment for you?
Um, just seeing my daughter enjoy the products that I produce, watching her and, I'll crave them and want more of them. And it's like, she's excited when I come home from work because I'm always bringing back some like new product and stuff like that. I mean, there's really nothing better than to see her enjoy the products that I make. So,
Which is her
and
favorite?
she loves like the chocolate brownie and the almond fudge bar that I bring back for her. She loves the coconut wraps. She'll like make it into like a little fruit roll up and she'll eat it because it's kind of
Are they sweet?
yeah, it's kind of a sweet kind of coconut, and so she'll roll them up. It's because they're dehydrated coconut water, coconut meat, and coconut oil. So you can roll them up almost into a fruit roll up, and you just eat them that way. She likes the cereal. It's tough because some of the products we have too much fiber, so I just cut it in half or give her a small amount of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. So I'm really excited about the kids protein bar that we're
Yeah.
developing right now. But that's definitely the best moment, though.
Yeah. Heath, I really appreciate your time and energy with this. This has been great. I have one last question before I ask it. Tell people, where can they check out your products? Where should they go online?
Yeah, go to julianbakery.com. We have hundreds of different products on there, and pretty much in any kind of category that you want, whether it be cereal or bars or powders. But at julianbakery.com, we make it pretty much the paleo diet really easy because we have the biggest selection of paleo products on the market.
Yeah. Last question is, the future for Julian Bakery, and you have big goals. I want you to tell people about the goal of the company.
I think really changing the way people eat and also making any diet easy are really our two biggest goals. I think changing the way the masses eat, and you're going to see more and more people really going to a paleo or a primal way of eating. Even if they're vegan, you're going to see them really go primal or a primitive way of eating, whether it be like raw foods or just doing without all the junk. So our goal as a company is really to provide products that are for paleo, primal, and this new kind of up and coming trend called pegan, which is the blend between paleo and vegan products.
Hilarious.
So
Yeah.
we'll have products for all three of them. So
Right. Heath, thank you so much. Everyone should check out julianbakery.com. It's been great. Thank you.
thank you so much.